What up? What up? What up?
Here we go, man. We're back. The knockout canvas finally at a new time that hopefully works for everybody. 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Texas time, and this would be 7 p.m. Eastern. So we're gonna get through the next 90 minutes of talking all this boxing news. Last week we never even got a chance to talk about the whole Vergil Ortiz ordeal with Boots Enos coming in the ring, and it looked promising. Right. And then, the politics of boxing does what it always does.
Politics of boxing.
It always does. And I think, again, for you guys who are listening to us on the Naga Canvas, I think that's a good part of the conversation today is this type of stuff, Professor T, the reason why boxing is really not that accessible or really popular to the mainstream casuals who watch NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, hockey here in the U.S. Because outside of the U.S., brother, it is hot right now with boxing. I mean, all they're talking about this week is the whole Conor, Benn, Eubank, 75,000 people are going to be there. Stars are lining up. I mean, it's crazy, right? But then if you live in the U.S., you barely hear anything about the Vergil Ortiz versus Boots Enos fight, which we all saw. And then what's crazy, and I want to bring this up because it's a part of the conversation for today, is they announced that there may be a Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight. And then all of a sudden, regular mainstream media in the U.S., they pay attention. Just, again, as you said, Jake Paul really knows what he's doing. Yeah. So how have we gotten to the point, Professor T, and I'll let you answer this one, how have we gotten to the point where regular, casual sports fans in the USA somehow believe that Jake Paul is one of the best boxers out there in the world, man? What happened, Professor T?
I think it's really that good old adage of fake it till you make it, and I think he's actually made it now. That's just facts. And he's capable of creating these fights, and people want to see these fights. So I mean, I don't. The marketing is amazing. I mean, he's a genius, right? From that respect, he's really got a hold on marketing in the world, not just the United States. And people pay to see him fight. Period. No matter what you think.
And what's crazy too is. And I brought this up earlier today on ATP Combat Media podcast. We were there discussing this type of stuff. There is a big difference in the USA, and this happened when you and I were growing up, Professor T, where if you make it accessible for us and it's free or easy to watch, like CBS was, ABC, Wild Wars of Sports were, even NBC at that time, they were doing all kinds of different stuff, right? The Olympics and everything else, versus now you literally have to pay to watch these Vergil Ortiz's, Boots Enos's and whatnot, but you're also paying for Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, except the difference in price is huge. It's $7.99 a month with Netflix versus DAZN is $20 a month, right? So there really is no more free boxing on TV, and you know what I mean, right? You're paying something to someone, right? Yeah. So that's where it gets to that point that I want to get your take on is because we're now in the USA where it's been so long, and for people like your son and my son and even younger, they don't know too much about boxing, but whatever they do know about boxing, it's Jake Paul, because Jake Paul came from their world. Right?
Yeah. And that's going to be the unfortunate part of this era, because it is an era, ladies and gentlemen. Don't make any mistakes about it. The amateur slash YouTuber becomes you know, a belt holder. You just never know. It's a possible situation, especially if you're being handled properly. And Jake's been handled properly. Let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. Give credit where credit is due. He's absolutely been handled properly. They've gotten him in with the right kind of competition to make it make sense and for people to be intrigued. There's no way around that. Yeah, there's no way around that. So,
and that's the thing is we're coming off of, what is it? Jake Paul fought Cesar Chavez, right? Jake Paul's company does an entire women's card. Before that, Jake Paul's company does Jake Paul versus Tyson, and that's like Netflix's introduction to boxing. It caps off with Canelo Crawford, which is a real event and a real fight for not only the hardcore, but it's almost backwards, right? Like it would be like if the NFL only had a hardcore fan base, but NFL was pay-per-view, so you only really got to know who Saquon was if you paid to watch Saquon play, or you only knew who Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce, but you had to pay to watch them. And then somewhere, I don't know, man, like XFL football was just accessible to everybody. Right. So, and it was free. So then there's a whole 10, 20, 30-year period of this happening. I can't really blame the sport of boxing, because the sport of boxing, they're producing probably the best matchups and talents that you and I have seen, Professor T, since the 1970s.
Correct.
The matchups are amazing, but it's almost like, well, we know what it is because we've been watching it all our lives. Correct. But your son doesn't know what it is.
Absolutely not.
You know, he knows who Jake Paul is. He doesn't, so again, you and I, and we'll break this down for a second, ladies and gentlemen, but Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, if it gets signed, if it happens, will be in December on Netflix. Well, what does Netflix does? Netflix bought the Christmas games for the NFL. Netflix did the Tom Brady roast. They're really into, hey, we want to do live events, but the live events has to count, and it has to be shown to our over 300 million subscribers globally. So you take a Jake Paul, which is a USA popular name, so we can call him which is a star, right?
Yep.
And then you take Anthony Joshua, who you in the boxing world, if you're listening to us at the Knockout Canvas right now, you would know this because you're listening to a Combat Sports Show. It wasn't that long ago that we were talking about Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua possibly happening. Best versus the best. Heavyweight boxing. It's finally going to bring boxing back. And it never happened because of the politics.
Never worked
right? Out. And it allowed a Jake Paul to become a thing. So
it really did.
Yeah. I mean, like, and this is where we're at, because Anthony Joshua, who is coming off of a surgical procedure, who last year fought, so it's been over a year. He got knocked out by Daniel Dubois, who became the IBF champ and just lost to Usyk, who is the pound-for-pound number 2 fighter in the world. These are real boxing that we're talking about. Boxing talk, real boxer, like real heavyweight championships, real. And then Jake Paul, he fought old Mike Tyson, who's coming off of an ulcer surgery, right? And then Julio Cesar Chavez, who ends up getting deported like 2 days after his fight for, but yet Netflix, Professor T, an actual company, is like, and we're going to pay you money again to give us something. And then we had to deal with the whole, here he is against Gervonta Tank Davis, who I think I'm speaking to not only the hardcore fan base like us, but the hardcore supporters and the casuals who pushed back against Tank Davis versus Jake Paul.
Right.
Remember how at first it was supposed to be in Atlanta, then they moved it, blah, blah, blah. The reason being, I think the reason is no one was interested. I think the reason is everybody was tired of this crap. I think the reason is Netflix probably figured it out and was like, huh? What? You ain't making nobody's interested? Y'all better find a reason to cancel this. And then boom, boom. Javante Davis gave him a reason.
Gave him a great reason. How well that works out for him in terms of that reason is a whole different situation. But it will be interesting to see how that pans out.
Now, on a technical perspective, Professor T, and keep it a bean with the group here. If I'm sorry, I'm trying not to laugh, but if Anthony Joshua does actually fight Jake Paul in December, what's your prediction?
It should be an absolute 100% first round knockout. No question.
Okay.
That's what it should
less,
be.
You're going to be upset? Okay.
I would absolutely be upset. Absolutely. And real quick before we keep going, shout out to our guys in TikTok, right? Jesse, Uratia, and Mr. Ant Dell is in the building. Appreciate y'all for coming through. I know this is a new time. You know, not a whole lot of traffic right now. There are some, like I say, on TikTok though. Just make sure I shout out the people that are out there, and don't hesitate to ask some questions or chip in. Tell us what you think.
And please share it with everyone. We're gonna try out this new time and see if this works out. The 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and I think in the UK, we there might be some people, New Zealand and everyone else. So, so you believe it'd be a first round. Now let's keep in mind that it was just last year, 2024, that we watched Francis Ngannou fight Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua knocked him out in the second round.
Correct.
Now also keep in mind that they were wearing 10-ounce gloves, which is the normal rule for real boxing. Correct. Not exhibition boxing, but the real deal. So most likely this will be an exhibition. Yes. I'm thinking if Jake Paul isn't out of his mind, they're probably going to ask for 14-ounce gloves.
I would only hope.
So even with 14-ounce gloves in exhibition-style rules, you still expect Anthony Joshua to knock him out in the first round?
I expect an absolute complete wash. Complete wash. And if it's nothing less than that, I'm done. I'm like done with boxing in general. Like it's all.
Stop it! You're not done.
Well, you know what I mean. It's like I can't ever take it serious. I mean, I can't. How can I take that serious? I mean, Jake Paul's no heavyweight. He's no heavyweight.
No.
Cruiserweight, I can understand.
Maybe,
and that's what I'm trying to say. If I can try to find a way to understand this nonsense, but it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to me at all.
I'll tell you, the thing is, and this is where we don't want to lose the casual sports fan. We want you guys to get involved in boxing. We want you to see what me and Professor T are seeing, where you're seeing boxing at the highest level. But if you're being told that normal boxing is Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua because that's what's accessible to you, then it's a job. It's the job of a show like the Knockout Canvas to explain to you that's not real boxing. That's exhibition boxing. If you're joining the party, that's fine. But you'll probably see real boxing on the undercard. And more importantly, real boxing is what we're watching this Saturday, which is happening everywhere in the world. There's real boxing in Mexico, real boxing in the UK happening, right? Like best versus best, that type of boxing, which is what we're used to watching back in the 1980s, 70s, 90s, right? So it's really about the accessibility part of it, where I will kind of give a different prediction for you is if Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul does happen and it's on exhibition rules, honestly, Professor T, I believe it's going to be Anthony Joshua using it as a sparring. Like, it's almost like he's going to get paid for sparring. And you know how when a fighter is getting ready for a real fight, when they're sparring, they're not really giving you everything. They're just kind of like doing, like, hey, I only want you to run to the left side, or hey, I only want you to run to the right side, right? I think that's what it'll be. So unfortunately, as much as you'd love to see Anthony Joshua completely wash Jake Paul, I actually think Jake Paul will somehow make it to whatever weird. He'll probably do like a 6 or an 8 round exhibition, and Jake Paul will find a way to make it to the end. And then he'll say, see, I'm such a good boxer. I was able to survive the great Anthony Joshua and remember, because it's an exhibition, there won't be any real judging to it because it won't count. So the narrative will continue that Jake Paul is this great talent and he built himself up to make it the distance. And this is very similar to, remember when Logan Paul, his claim to fame in boxing is he took Floyd Mayweather 12 rounds, right? Yep. Or it was 10 rounds, I think it was, right? But did he really though? You know what I mean?
We all know the truth. At least you should know the truth. I mean,
Right. Yeah, no, and that's where this is at, right? Now going into a real boxing match or a real at stakes event, here's one where as long as you have the DAZN subscription, you love this fight because you love these fighters, Professor T. But Chris Eubanks versus Conor Benn.
That's a good one.
Fight of the year back in April. And now we got it coming up. It is at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. So you already know it starts early in the morning. It starts at like 9:30 in the morning. You have to have the DAZN subscription to be able to watch it. And unfortunately for the United States of America, I'm sorry, guys, it is a pay-per-view. $60 to get to watch it, right? I'm not gonna say that the card isn't an amazing card, because it really is. If you love high-level quality boxing, it really is. But let's get your take on that first. Who do you think is gonna win the rematch this time around? And what do you think of that whole event, Professor T?
I think it's a great event. It's got to be exciting for the UK. They got to be, very ecstatic. It was a great fight the first time around. I think the guy that won it the first time will win it a little bit easier this time. And I just don't see how or where Benn gets it to overcome the obvious. I mean, size, right? Length. It's just, and skill set. That's just how I look at it. Skill set as well. It's just not an easy situation for him with that matchup.
So you're going Chris Eubanks for sure. You're not even going to give a little room.
Not even.
All right, now on the first fight, who did you give it to?
I gave it to Eubanks.
But by how much though? Like, did you think he completely won it 9-3 or? Okay.
No, it was a much closer fight than that. It was a great fight. You're talking 2-3 rounds. You know what I mean? A couple of punches here and there to change the trajectory of a couple of those rounds. I mean, it could have easily been a draw.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, and it was, and you have the opinion of, like my other colleagues earlier this morning on ATP Combat Media, Claymore Rain, he's going with Chris Eubanks, just like you, Professor T, and Ray Davis, who's on our Guillotine League, he's going with Chris Eubanks, just like you are. And guess what, Professor T, I'm the only one that sat there and said, I actually think Conor Benn's gonna win. Wow. So I'm saying it on the Knockout Canvas, and I'll explain to you guys why. Exactly. Conor Benn. Okay, first of all, you have to remember the trajectory of how this fight was supposed to happen. It happened in April, then it was supposed to happen in August. And then what happened? Chris Eubank Jr. started playing around, talking about, I can't make the weight, So then it kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed. So now here we are in November. Well, what do you think Conor Benn's been doing that entire time, Professor T? He wasn't like eating donuts, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's been getting better.
Yeah, so he gave him more time and more room to fill out in his body. He gave him more time and more room to improve in his boxing skill. And when we're talking about who is longer in the tooth here, well, Conor Benn is on the younger stage. Conor Benn is at a point in his career where you got people like Shakur Stevenson willing to move up to 147 to fight him.
That would be that would be a nice one.
You also have Conor Benn being challenged by Jaron Boots Enos's dad today at the press conference. He was saying, "Oh, we'd love to see Boots." So Conor Benn is sort of that name, right? And he can get the money from Turkey Al Sheikh and all the other entities because he's becoming more and more of a star. So there's more at stake for Conor Benn because if he wins, Professor T, he becomes the Canelo Alvarez of the UK, man. Everybody starts to gravitate towards wanting to fight him.
That will be big. Shout out Professional E in the building. Let's keep it real. Conor Benn was on PEDs. Got caught up and it isn't the same.
Well, now here's the thing, though, professionally. At least in the UK, they actually give you real punishments. Right. And he was out of the sport for a long time. It wasn't the same for Canelo, who, what was that, 2-3 months? Right? It was in his stake. So come on, professionally, let's keep it real right back. But again, we don't want to get into controversy of that. The guy already did his time, and it is what it is. So at the end of the day, if anything, professionally, if you want to really claim that also, then how do we know he didn't do more now? Because he needs to be bigger and stronger, right? I don't think he did for this fight. I think he's going in there clean. But my point is that now Conor Benn is going to have the opportunity to get back a rematch. And I want you to think about it from the business standpoint, Professor T. So Conor Benn wins. Well, are we doing a trilogy? And does the trilogy make more money? Right? Okay. But let's say we don't, because you remember when Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn fought in the 90s, first fight was a controversial draw. Second fight, Chris Eubank Jr. gets the knockout, right? But it was still a great fight, gets the stoppage win. And they never did a third one. So how do I know that if Conor Benn wins this, that Chris Eubank Jr. just retires? Because he's already older. He already was saying that it's hard to make the 160 weight. And now let's go ahead and keep it real professionally. There's no one Chris Eubank Jr. could beat at 168, man. He will get destroyed by everybody in the top 5. So what are we talking about here, right? So at the end of the day, Professor T, do you see a scenario in where if Chris Eubank Jr. wins or loses, he retires?
I mean, it's very possible. He's getting up there in age, right? I don't think people understand how tough it is to get prepared for a fight. That is, I mean, those camps, they are hard, man. They're worse than NFL training camps, any other camp, if you will. Just absolutely grueling. Well, less wrestling and MMA, right? I'll be honest, those are pretty rough too. But you get way more rest in MMA than you'll ever get in the sport of boxing. There is no such thing, really. You are straight up, prepared for the whole 36 minutes, right? There is no, we're going to take a breather in the corner. No, your guard is always up. So it's a little different, man. And I could see him saying, enough is enough, especially if he gets the bag. The only thing I can see him, really saying, nah, let's give this a little bit more run, is the fact that, hey, maybe he gets slighted this time. Maybe they, for whatever reason, decide to want to push that trilogy. It'll be a good modern trilogy for the UK, man. And I mean, it'll be something that can be talked about for quite some time. And, put themselves on the map, if you will, in terms of those trilogies. And hard fought, nemesis and arch rivals, because that's not right. That's not always a thing for every era. Some eras didn't have those great Hagler Hearns, right? Those don't come across all the time. So I think it could be a modern day trilogy that would make sense.
And it would be awesome. The only other way I could see, like you're saying, Chris Eubanks, because it is so difficult and he is a lot older in age, if he doesn't retire, it might be because maybe they offer him Canelo if he wins. Right. You know what I mean? Right? If he wins, then Canelo needs a get-back fight from his surgery after getting whooped by Terrence Crawford. Right. So, at 168, at 168, right? You do a fight like that in the UK or in Riyadh or however you want to do it. So that's about it. Which is why my unpopular take of I think Conor Benn's going to beat him makes more sense. He's younger. He's got more to go look forward to. I think in the first fight when he got his face slapped with that egg, by Chris Eubank Jr., it kind of threw off his entire game. He let his emotion get the best of him. And I think this time around, the only thing that happened is he got more time to train. Yes. I think he's a lot more calm. And so really it becomes a question of, I agree with you, Professor T, that if we're talking about who has more of the refined boxing skill set, then we've seen Chris Eubank Jr. do that more, right?
Right.
But if we're talking about just raw talent and strength and ability, man, right. I wasn't sure that Conor Benn could handle 160 moving up from 147. And after I saw that first fight, I was like, okay, if you give him more time, I think he'll be able to handle it just fine. So, right. Again, man, if youth prevails, which I think it will, I think you might even see Chris Eubank Jr. get knocked down once at least.
Hey, right? That would be huge.
Right. And then it becomes a clear victory. Let's say Chris Eubanks Jr. fights, the best that he can, but at the end of the day, loses a match, retires in the ring, right? Let's say that's what he does, or it says, I need to take some time off to think about what's next. Now, think about that whole landscape, Professor T. What do you think about Conor Benn versus Jaron Bootsina, since Vergil Ortiz his team seems to not want to do it?
It would absolutely be a terrible fight. I think either of those guys are going to get hurt. Honestly, that's my true honest opinion. I think either of those guys get hurt. I don't think they can deal with Boots at all. And real quick before we keep going, man, we got people in the building. We got a Hershey Gutierrez said yo earlier. Also want to get to Professional E's comment because it's an important one, and I agree. PEDs in combat sports isn't okay. Just because Canelo did it don't mean it's okay. Could not agree more. There's no place for it, particularly in this sport, because it's not playing. It's a sport. It's life or death. We've seen quite a few fighters die just this year alone, let alone just in the recent years. So Professional E, 100% correct. I'm right there with you. And it's unfortunate that these guys, for whatever reason, because sometimes I'll be honest, man. Sometimes people don't know what they're getting themselves into. You'd be shocked at what people will follow and do anything, except for that, but be told that's not what they're doing. And now all of a sudden you got an issue. This isn't the first time I would have seen something like that, right? It's happened in sports and in other sports, particularly football, as far as something that I've seen firsthand. And it is what it is, man. Unfortunately, right? You trust the wrong person, and things can happen. I believe that's what happened to Marion Jones. Shout out to Marion Jones. I don't know if you know, but she lives right around the corner.
Oh, wow.
She's got an initiative going on Facebook to wake up the community. And every morning she puts out something for us to do.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And we mark done, every day. The first day it was, I want to say, 10-minute walk. Second day it was a minute plank. Yeah, today was what you're grateful for. I'm really ecstatic that she's doing that. Again, somebody that, people may say is falling from grace, but she's turned that all the way around. Amazing woman, amazing family. And yeah, I'm just excited that we all are fortunate to be around and be able to feed off of that energy. But yeah, so hey, PEDs, yes, it's all bad.
Right.
It's always will be bad. But like I say, there are some people that, you know what I mean? That's why I bring her up. I mean, hopefully she doesn't. You know what I mean?
I think there's a documentary out there too.
That's what I'm saying. She stood up tall, man. I mean, you have no idea how much I admire her. She could have easily just ran into the corner.
Right.
And just, lived out the rest of her life without being bothered with anybody. And that's not what she chose to do, man. So again, shout out to her. It's an honor being able to even talk about her and take pictures. I got a picture with her from this. And she took her phone. It's on Facebook for the cause. So
yeah, awesome, man. That's really awesome. Well, that's all. I mean, and like you said, right? There's, maybe make, it's all complicated. All of it is complicated. At the end of the day, we have to say that if PEDs are out there, then who's governing it, right? And how do they choose to govern it? And how do they choose to punish? Because like I said, man, Munguia, when they caught him with it up in the UK, there was investigation on it, and it took a lot for him to finally get it got resolved. Correct. And then he's getting a chance to fight again coming up in 2026. But there needs to be a process rather than just kind of like, and by the way, this people also forget, for as much scrutiny on the podcast space that Ryan Garcia gets, he did get suspended. Just so that you guys know, it did took him it took him over a year to finally get a fight again. Right. And he still to this day believes that Devin Haney's group tainted it somehow. So, I mean, I don't know, man. All I know is what I can see. Devin Haney gets to fight in 2 weeks. So we're going to find out if he's still going to be relevant or if he's going to be knocked the hell out.
Yeah, that's going to be a good fight. I really think that's going to be a good fight. Professionally, we're going to put it up there because you're right. We'll button it up with this one. But yes, it's not always the athlete's fault, but you have to know what you put in your body. That is the 100% truth. And again, why I admire her, because she took accountability for it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the harsh reality of it, right? Ignorance is no excuse for the law, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep it a bean. You can't use the good old I didn't know. So,
right.
It is what it is, man. Let me run these names down, dude. TikTok is popping. For everybody on TikTok, please, if you don't mind, mosey on over to the Knockout Canvas on YouTube. And if you like what you're seeing and hearing, like and subscribe. And last but not least, hit that subscribe and notification button so you know now. We're at 6 o'clock, new time, and it will be here to stay, I promise you.
4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, because I got some energy now. It's much better. I'm not falling asleep. So, Jack Davis, shout out to Jack Davis in the building. James B is in the building. We got the real El Trepo in the building. We got Chrissy G in the building. We got Chase. We got L'Oreal in the building. We got Tio Rocha in the building. We got R. Bratton. And last but not least, we got Donnie Jenkins. Hey, I can't get them all, man. But hey, welcome. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. And again, last but not least, mosey on over to that YouTube channel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we do appreciate everybody as the channel continues to grow on Instagram, on X, on Facebook. if you guys could just follow it. Our goal is to just continue to bring you combat sports news as it's happening and just keeping it in the middle ground, right? Not necessarily taking we're going to go on this side or this side approach. We'll give you our honest opinion on it. But at the end of the day, you have to know what's going on. And if you didn't even know that there's this huge event happening in the UK this Saturday, it's literally in the boxing world. It's one of the biggest events of the year. Unfortunately, again, there's this weird thing that happens and it only happens in the USA market. Because if you step outside of Canada or Mexico or anywhere else, if you had to do pay-per-view for this event, it's like $20, right? I don't know why in the US market. I don't know if there's tariffs for pay-per-view. Professor T, I have no idea, man. I don't know why for pay-per-view combat sports event it costs so much. Remember, like last year, or for the longest time in the UFC, including this year, it's $80. UFC 321, $80. UFC 324, $80, right? And people just don't have the $80. Like you'll have some market, but next year it's free on CBS. It's free on Paramount, and that's and I wanted to speak to that just because, again, I think that we could have more of a conversation about the sport of boxing with a more mass fan base if they were just accessible to it, which is why we talk so much about Jake Paul, because he's accessible to everybody. So everybody's got an opinion on Jake Paul. Good, bad, and different. Everybody's got one. But the fact that two of the very best fighters in the world fought within a 3-week period, that's Jaron Boots Ennis and Vergil Ortiz, who just fought this past weekend, and we don't have mainstream USA boxing media or regular media talking about it, to me it's ridiculous, Professor T. Because again, it would be like if back when we were growing up in the 80s, nobody talked about Sugar Ray Leonard or Thomas the Hitman Hearns. You know what I mean? Like that would be weird, right? It'd be like, how do you not know who these two are, right? But back in those days, Sugar Ray Leonard was on Pepsi commercials and Tommy Hearns, you know what I mean? It was accessible to TV. They were showing their workouts. Remember when public sparring was a thing? They would show it like, oh, we're doing a sparring session today, and they would show that. So I think that's where it's lacking, because everywhere else outside of the U.S., you do have that accessibility. But here, for whatever weird reason, man, it's still this weird thing. So with so many great fights coming up, we also run into a problem in Top Rank. They ended their deal in July from ESPN. We haven't heard about what American network is going to be showing them since. Now, here's the thing, though, Professor T. They have fighters signed who have been fighting all over the world, and they have an entire card happening this Saturday night in Mexico, right? Rafael Espinoza, the 6-foot-tall, 126-pound WBO champion. He's defending his title against Arnold Kagai. Undefeated Landolfo Delgado. He's fighting on the card. The only American silver medalist, Richard Torres, who's trying to climb up the heavyweight ranks. He's fighting. Emiliano Vargas, who is basically an identical twin to his dad, Fernando Vargas. He's fighting this Saturday. How are we supposed to watch it in American TV, Professor T, if there isn't one?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, they're pushing. Hey, I don't know who said it first, but you're pushing everybody to piracy. That's really what it boils down to. As the ESPN sports world and YouTube beef and battle it out, we get stuck not being able to watch Monday Night Football. So stupid, but at some point they're gonna have to figure something out.
Right, and that's where I think that when you make it not so accessible, and there's a number of years that happens, right? You get to this point now where if it's accessible to you, like the UFC has been very accessible They'd show replays for free over and over again. It's on ESPN, then it's on ABC. And now they're switching it to CBS Paramount. In the 10-year span, the UFC went from, I don't really know about that cage fighting stuff, to, oh my God, did you see blank against blank? And there's an event, and now it's going to be at the White House. And there's so many. That's where boxing needs to get back to. So in your opinion, though, Professor T, heading into 2026,
right.
Turkey, we love you. We love what you've done with boxing, but you promised us free boxing and you took it away, man. I got to bring this up and get your take on it, because originally we were told that for our same DAZN plan, we were going to get a chance to finally do what Dana White is doing. Right. Dana White, he's not, there is going to be a raise to Paramount Plus going into January monthly, but it's not like you were, for most people who got Paramount Plus, it's because you guys are watching Yellowstone or Mayor of Kingstown or Landman, so it's just something that they're adding, versus DAZN is a sports app. They don't have like TV shows and Hollywood movies or nothing like that. All they show is soccer, billiards, BKFC, that's bare knuckle, Misfits boxing, right? They show MMA, and then they show boxing. And already it was $20 a month already. Unless you didn't want to commit to a year, then it was $30 a month, which again, it's very high. So you have to already be in a market of hardcore fan base, right? But even at the $20 price point, that's what we were excited about. As Turkey told us, going into 2026, we will no longer have to pay for any pay-per-views. For $20 a month, we were like, that's great. But unfortunately, that was a lie, because we actually have to pay. $45 a month to be committed to a year, or pay $450 for the whole year. And then we get to watch what they call the ultimate DAZN package, where we don't have to worry about paying for pay-per-views on top of our subscription. Right. Where I want to get your take on this. Here you are, Professor T, you're working your ass off as an American. You love your boxing, but there's so many other sports accessible to you. NFL, Major League Baseball, basketball, college, football, college basketball, right? And then you got your daughters and gymnastics. Like, there's so many. You're already busy as it is. Right. There's already so many things being offered to you as it is. How does this work for DAZN, and how does this work for making boxing more accessible to the regular casual sports fan? Because I don't get it. I don't think it does. I think, if anything, it makes Dana White more powerful.
Exactly. They're just feeding into it. I agree 100%, man. I don't get it. I don't know why they're going in that direction. You would think that you would want to try to go backwards like we had in the past and build that up, right, before you decide to smack them with a fee. You got to hook them first, right? But it's not what's going on. We're having a hard time trying to keep boxing alive in the States, right? We've pulled in Spence. Shout out to my guy Spence. Shameless plug tomorrow night. Dead in the Water. Where, hey, he's getting to watch his squad. I couldn't do it, man. So for the people that didn't know why Professor T, a.k.a. Turf, could not watch that game, it was exactly that, bro. It was because Spencer would have been sitting there the whole game, chuckling, laughing, and just making fun of how terrible my team is. I couldn't do it. It was just too much. It was way too much. So that's why I kind of missed a whole lot of everything last week. But we good, man. We good, man. We got Chewy in the building. My guy, salute. Man, we got the one and only Marcus Spinks. Always checking out your boy. Turf, much respect to you always, my brother. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Hope you enjoy the show. Man, TikTok is popping today.
Popping, right? Yeah.
TikTok, man. I mean, it's constant. constant people for this. And
we hope you guys at TikTok really like the content we're trying to bring you. We're just trying to give you an understanding and a perspective, because if you don't live in the US, you're doing great for boxing content. You know, it's free in the UK on BBC, and you're getting great fights there. It's even if you did have to do any pay-per-views, it's $19.99, which is nothing, right? Like, I mean, it's a cup of coffee in the US literally right now. So that's why for me, I here you are, Professor T. Are you someone who, going into next year, 2026, are you just going to keep your subscription for DAZN and say, you know what, I'll pick and choose paying my pay-per-view prices, and I'll probably pirate it.
Right.
I mean, not pirate it, but you know what I mean? Figure out another way to watch it.
Go somewhere else. Yeah, exactly. All those things in the above. Absolutely. It's just too much, man. I mean, people are being tone deaf, you know? They can't read the room. They don't understand the American people are already being squeezed. It's just a lot of economic turmoil right now. And I don't know, man. I guess people think that it's just easier to keep rocking on, and hey, we'll get who we can. But I really think they're missing a golden opportunity, if you will, to really get boxing back on track to what we're used to. Yeah,
I agree, and I agree with you 100%, because if we're able to watch Canelo Crawford for free on Netflix, it makes us go, sure, I'll pay $8 a month. Because look at the content that we're getting, and then they're holding it on for us, and we can watch it all the time. And if you give us more of that, Netflix, then we're going to continue to support. Same with Paramount Plus, right? Oh, you're going to do all the UFC content, 43 UFC fights, plus 12 boxing events, plus Power Slap, plus, you know what I mean? And we're going to get to see Landman and Mayor of Kingstown, and you know what I mean? And that's where DAZN, if you're listening to us, DAZN, the CEO, the executives,
right?
We, Professor T and I, and the rest of us in the boxing community, we realize your value. We understand it. That's why we're consumers of it. Okay. Right. At the same time, you don't understand, like Professor T's talking about, the current financial climate of how the USA works. So I don't know what you need to do. I don't know if there's tariffs involved when it comes to pay-per-views, but why is it that in the USA, the 50 states, we're paying $60 for this Conor Benn, Chris Eubank's pay-per-view event, which, by the way, I'm not saying it's not worth it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it isn't fair that Canada, Mexico, the UK, everyone else is paying $19.99 or less to access this. So if someone can answer that question for me, man, I'd love to hear it. Because if people are looking for what's the magic, or what's the smoking gun to boxing not being popular enough that in the NFL, you could have a Monday night football game, no one talked about Vergil Ortiz's knockout. And back when you and I were growing up, Professor T, everyone talked about boxing, talk shows, late night shows. Everybody talked about it, right? The accessibility part. So, figure it out, DAZN. Figure it out and understand. Yeah. Or again, you'll just become what you are. The hardcore supporters like us, okay, we understand your values, so we're kind of committed to you. But at the same time, you're gonna miss out on Dana White's 5-year plan. And Dana White's 5-year plan has already proven to work because he did it with the UFC.
He did.
The minute he made UFC accessible and it became more accessible than boxing, what happened, Professor T? Right? Now it's a regular language, man. Inside the NBA uses their analogy. NFL Network will go, it's like in an NFL, it's like in an MMA match, right? Major League Baseball. So you got everyone in this country talking about the sport of MMA as a parallel to certain things because they made it easy and accessible. The Zone, you guys need to make it easy and accessible. Turkey a la Sheikh, you need to somehow figure out making it easy or accessible. Or just admit to yourselves, you don't really care that much because globally it's easy and accessible enough that America is a market that you're just not gonna, you'll get your money from people like me and Professor T, but you don't care about the Hannah Montana fans and the Taylor Swift fans and because you don't really care about that casual group of fan base. Do you see a solution for it at all? Since you're not going to be one of the people that's going to be paying the exorbitant $45 a month, do you see a solution for anything?
I really don't, other than them comprehending that they have to absolutely really understand what's going on, man, and don't mess it up.
I mean, it's rough, man. It's rough. I mean, guys just do know that we don't, us here at the Knockout Canvas, we don't want you to not be a boxing fan. So realize that even if you're not going to watch the pay-per-view live, there are ways to watch it. Dave & Buster's shows it. There's different places out there that will show it. At the same time, usually by that night, someone put it on YouTube, so you can just watch it that way, right? Which will be very difficult because again, when I've literally seen this before. I don't know if you've ever seen this, Professor T, but there could be someone in Malaysia who's watching the fight live,
right?
And he just puts it up like he's like, "Hey, I'm on YouTube. If you guys want to give me $1, right?" And people are just giving him $1 because they're like, "Hey, thanks for showing your Zoom camera on the screen because you bought it for $19.99." And this again, Turkey. If it sounds like we're not mad at you, all right, we're not mad at you, Turkey a la Sheikh. We appreciate everything you've done for boxing. We're just saying that if your goal was to make it popular in the U.S., then your plan is working, but it's working through Dana White. Because he's the one that's going to make it popular in the U.S. Because he's the one that's going to be giving it out to the most accessible channel to give it access. And then we're going to get to learn all about the Zuffa boxing fighters and the Zuffa boxing model. And if you think I'm wrong because you're a boxing hardcore, then just realize that it already did it. They already did it with the UFC. They turned UFC into what was it? They sold it for $5 billion. And then that $5 billion now turned around into a $7.7 billion 7-year rights deal. Like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying, right? Like if they were able to already do that, then what makes you think that that's Dana White's promise? He says, give me 5 years. And in 5 years, boxing will be popularized in the USA, but it's going to be his way of boxing, the Zuffa boxing way of doing things. So again, man, I don't know, Professor T. It's like it's a push pull for people like you and me, right? Because we love it and we watch it globally. But damn, bro, $45 a month. What's an app that you're paying for right now that's $45 a month? Is there any app you're paying for that's $45 a month? Nothing?
Nope. No.
Damn.
Other than obviously YouTube, but that's about to go away too. I'm done with YouTube as well. TV.
Oh.
TV is
YouTube TV, right? Yeah, YouTube TV. And mainly you were probably doing that because of the NFL, right? But now you're like, screw it. The NFL's on Paramount. The NFL's on Amazon. The NFL's on Peacock. The NFL's on Netflix, right? So what's the point, right? And again, that's where it's at. Again, trying not to bore you guys TikTok talking about it, but we're just we're such big combat sports fans. There's a big UFC event coming up again here pretty soon. The one in New York is going to be awesome. This week though, it is all about the boxing. And let me ask you that about the card that's coming up in Mexico. I know you'll figure out a way to watch it. What do you think of that tall kid, Rafael Espinoza, the 6 foot tall, 126 pound?
Yeah, I can't wait to see him, man. It's going to be. I think it's going to be a good fight. He's stepping up, right, in this particular fight.
Well, yeah, Kagai's fought on Pro Box before. He's definitely a good contender. Rafael Espinoza is in the same division where Angelo Leo is at, and what the 126 division is it's a very popular division with Nick Ball is the WBA, right? Okay. And then Stephen Fulton, who just beat I'm forgetting the kid's name right now, but he just beat him to be the WBC 126 champ. Stephen Fulton's already moving up to 130 to fight Shockey Foster. That's gonna be vacant. So Rafael Espinoza, he's definitely Rafael Espinoza fighting in Mexico on Mexican TV. That makes sense if you're, because he's Mexican, right? But I'm just saying for hardcore boxing fans like you and me who actually know who he is, we're like, so we're gonna have to wait for someone to put it on Facebook, or is it on Tubi? Like exactly what's going on? So Top Rank, hopefully you guys can get it together too, and you guys have a lot of fighters that we want to see. Abdullah Mason being one of them, who is going to be fighting November 22nd, right?
That's
I know it is, and I know you'll be calling that fight too. So speaking of which, but before we start getting close to the end here, Professor G, tell me, are you going to be able to do a live for this Saturday? Because remember, it's in the morning. It's not really the morning your time, because it would be like 11:30 your time. But are you going to be doing a live for the Benn Eubanks, or are you not going to do a live for that one?
No, we can definitely do a live. Are you going to be around?
I don't think I will be around. As you know, I'm going through my stuff right now. But it's always good for you to do your own lives and everything. So yeah, guys, go to the Knockout Canvas this Saturday. Professor T will hold it down and call the fights, and then that way you got some good commentary happening.
Maybe I'll drag Spence in with me.
Yeah. Well, with Spence, Spence is the regular USA boxing viewership, where he really only wants to see the main cards, right? The main thing. He doesn't want you to take him through 5 hours of a boxing event. He's like, give me the main event, and I'm good with that. But that card is up. I sent you guys. So Eubanks versus Conor Benn, The Ring, Unfinished Business, again live on DAZN. I'm reading right now that it's 2 p.m. Eastern time for the main card. So that would be 1 p.m. Texas time for you, right?
Yep.
Okay. It's at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The co-main event is Jack Catterall, who's training with Bozy Ennis, right? That's Jack Catterall. He's fighting for the first time at 147 pounds against Eko Usman, the number one contender to the WBO belt at 147 pounds. So that's going to be a banger. That's why Boots Ennis's dad, Bozy Ennis, is up there right now. And then there's a bunch of really good, you have to really be into the boxing world to know. There's a British and Commonwealth 154-pound fight between Ismail Davis and Sam Gilly. There's a Commonwealth heavyweight match between Richard Riakpour against Tommy Welch. There's a 112-pound fight between Mickey Talon, who I got to watch here in Vegas during the free underdog fights that happened the day before we went to the Thursday night fight. So Mickey Talon, 10-0, is fighting on that card. And then it's starting off, the main card is going to be starting off with Adam Azim versus Kurt Scobie. That was TikTok telling us it's time. Adam Azim versus Kurt Scobie of the United States is starting off the main card. So again, that's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe that would be 11 a.m. Pacific Time and 1 p.m. Central Time, if I'm not mistaken on any of those time frames. So yeah, Professor T will call that event. We will continue to wait. We will continue to wait for the news on Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. I'm sure we'll hear by the end of this week, and that's supposed to be free on Netflix. That'll come up.
It has to.
It has to be on Netflix. Yeah. Well, it won't be pay-per-view. That's the whole format that Netflix is doing right now. So you guys won't have to worry about that, at least in the U.S. And then other than that, Professor T, we'll talk about the November 22nd fights coming up next week at our new time, Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, the November 22nd card is probably the best USA-filled boxing event I've seen in a long time, man. I mean, you got David Benavidez is on it. Abdullah Mason is in it. Jesse Bam Rodriguez from Texas is in it. That's 3 American world champions right there. Or about to be. Hopefully, Abdullah Mason, you can do it. Right. And then you got 2 young, in their prime, 24-year-old Brian Norman Jr., the WBO 147-pound champion, fighting against Devin, the American Dream Haney, who's 26 years old, undefeated, moving up to that 147, challenging for the title for the first time. Bro, it just makes me sad, Professor T, that it's the Knockout Canvas and other podcasters like ATP Combat Media, and it's us that's talking about this instead of regular news, man.
Just regular everyday news. You would think at some point it'll get its luster back, but I mean that's why we're here, man. That's why we're building. That's why we're doing what we do.
Well, we'll definitely break that down, because if you guys don't know yet, Professor T's favorite guy is Abdullah Mason on the come up. That's rising. That's under rising. So I'll definitely give him a breakdown, because Sam Oaks is no joke, and I'll have to maybe take him down from the roof a little bit. Professor T probably will tell me that Abdullah Mason's going to knock out Sam Oaks. So we'll see what happens, man.
That's going to be a knockout for sure.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, for this week, that's pretty much the news. And before we leave, Professor T, I just want to make sure I don't miss letting our people know who is listening to the Knockout Canvas on all combat media about UFC. Guys, UFC, hold on for just a second. UFC 322, which is a pay-per-view event, unfortunately, unless you could just walk into your Dave & Buster's or whatnots to go watch it. UFC 322 is this Saturday, November 15th at 7 p.m. for the main card. The main event is Jack Della Maddalena, or as they call him, JDM, versus the champ, Islam Makhachev. That would be a fun one for you and Nibs to do a live on at night if you guys want to do that. And UFC 322 November 15th is co-main event. 2 of my very favorite fighters, Valentina Shevchenko versus Zhilei Zhang, who's moving up to her weight division for the first time, 125 pounds. Zhilei is going to relinquish her 115 belt that Mackenzie Dern just won to move up and see if she can do the Manny Pacquiao, man, and move up in weight. And see if she could take down the best in the world and Valentina Shevchenko. So I honestly, I would have paid to go watch that one anyway, because I love to see those 2 fighters. But the whole card is.
Shevchenko's been to the gym. She's given seminars.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah,
she's badass.
Yes, she is.
So, well, let me get your take on that real quick then. So, unfortunately, with JDM versus Makhachev, Islam, the champ, it's hard for me to think that Islam's not going to lose, man. Islam's just too good. So I can't even really give you a talk about it. I mean, you're a jiu-jitsu black belt, Professor T. Can you see Makhachev lose, Islam lose to JDM? I don't see it. So why talk about it? We don't see it.
No, exactly. It would be pretty much.
We know what's going to happen. But the co-main event, Shevchenko versus Zhilei Zhang. That's interesting, right? Or Zhang Weili. Sorry. I keep saying Zhilei Zhang. I'm sorry, guys. Zhilei Zhang's the heavyweight boxer. Zhang Weili Zhang Weili is the former UFC strawweight champion at 115, moving up to 125 to challenge Valentina Shevchenko. Shevchenko, as we know, is the baddest woman on the planet when it comes down to 125 pounds. Yes. But what do you think, Professor D? Does Zhang Weili have a chance against Shevchenko?
I don't think so, but I'm a little
really? Not even a little?
Nah, she's gonna get kicked in the head, bro. She's gonna get kicked in the head, and it's gonna be over.
No, don't forget that Zhang Weili's original background before she got so damn good at wrestling was striking, dude.
I know she's a striker, but
you don't think she can strike with Valentina, man?
I think she's going to pick up on that wrestling the minute she realizes what she got herself into.
But you know Valentina's good at jiu-jitsu and good at wrestling, good at grappling.
She's good at everything. She's the real deal, man.
So this is like your Boots Ennis versus Vergil Ortiz, right? you feel like it's just Valentina Shevchenko's just got too many ways to win, and Zhang Weili's only got the one way to win, basically. All right. Well, the rest of the card is a good card. Leon Edwards is fighting Carlos Pratas. Bernal Darouche is fighting Benoit Saint Denis. Sean Brady's fighting on this against Michael Morales. It's a good card. It's a good card, Professor T. So if you guys are willing to pay the 80, or you're willing to go to your closest Dave & Buster's or wherever you want to go to watch UFC 322, it is November 15th. The preliminary cards is free and accessible on ESPN, 5 p.m. The main event of the preliminary card is Bo Nickel. Wrestling Bo Nickel against Rodolfo Vieiro. Yeah, it's a good card. And then, good undercards. Aaron Blanfield is fighting Tracy Cortez on the ESPN free portion. Malcolm Wellmaker, the young kid that went from I'm trying to remember what his regular job was, and then he went from that to being a superstar. I think he was like a plumber or something like that. Malcolm Wellmaker is 10-0, is fighting Cody Haddon. That's on the ESPN free portion starting at 5 p.m. And then the early prelims, if you have ESPN Plus, which most of us do, or if you guys are somehow paying the new $30 a month ESPN app, which I don't think you're doing, Professor T. Are you paying for that?
I'm not.
You're like, hell no. But that's the new ESPN app, $30 a month, y'all.
All of these apps, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
It's just too much, man. It's just too much. ESPN done lost their minds.
It's too much, bro. It's like wild. It's wild.
Yeah. My ESPN Plus is connected to my Disney and Hulu anyway, so I'm good with it. But if you do have that, the early preliminary portion is at 3 p.m. You have to watch it on ESPN Plus. There's a lot of good fighters in there, like Angelo Hill is on it. So me and Professor T, I won't be because I got to be out. But Professor T will be calling the Chris Eubanks versus Conor Benn rematch, unfinished business this Saturday during that time. So that is my combat sports schedule report for this Saturday. We covered MMA, we covered the boxing, we covered Professor T's going to call live fights. Anything that I'm missing?
No. Just new time, right?
New time, 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Texas time, and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Correct. this will be the new one. As you can see, I'm already starting to yawn. The closer to 8, the worse it is for the old man. So, yeah.
That's right. That's right.
I like this time, though. This time will definitely work because it's perfect. I'm hungry at the right time. I get to eat. Enjoy the rest of my night at the right time and not trying to find ways to fight that sleep.
Right. Well, guys, like I said, if you want to, please follow us on Instagram. If you want to get some of these YouTubes and whatnot of fights that you've missed, follow me at Reyes Boxing on Instagram. You can catch me here at the Knockout Canvas on Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm also at times at ATP Combat Media, so you guys can go check out Claymore Rain and his YouTube. And sometimes I go to the Hangout Spot. That is Johnny at the Hangout Spot. If you guys want to go check that out on YouTube, it just depends on the timing. But there's so much boxing and combat media to talk about, or combat sports to talk about, that me and Professor T are trying not to lose our minds with our terrible Raider season. Although I will end with this, Professor T, before I let you go. What do you think of this whole CJ Carr, Tom Brady's talking about he's the best quarterback in business? Is that who we're gonna end up getting?
Dude,
oh no, I'm making him upset, y'all. Watch Professor T on Thursday nights.
Tomorrow night. Got the water and Jesus. I don't know how I'm going to get through this football season. But you guys are helping me. The boxing, that sports world is definitely helping. So thank you all.
Monday Night Football is going to be absolutely brutal. We no JPJ, no Colton Miller. We're gonna get destroyed, man. It's gonna get destroyed, man. I almost wish you were here though, Professor T, because Keith Shep, you met him. Sergeant, he's coming here because it's the Cowboy game. He's gonna come to visit, and then I don't know if there's you think there'll be a $60 or $100 ticket available?
100%. There are so many available, and they're already dropping. All right. I'll give a little bit of game on it. If you're afraid that you're gonna not get in the stadium, what I would do is buy the cheapest nosebleed seat you can at the last minute of your comfort level. And I can assure you, once the kickoff happens and you're not even 2 minutes into the first quarter, everything is going to drop. Everything is going to drop. So that would be my advice. My coach got in.
Wait it out.
Yeah, he got in for like $180 total. His first ticket was like $30. His second ticket was like $50 because he did that. He got the nosebleed for $30, then went down to the 200s for $50, and then spent another $100 to get into a club, and it wasn't even end of the first quarter.
Wow, that is slick, man.
Exactly. Shout out to the people. And the truth is, club, you have to have a ticket to get through the door, so that's why you have to buy that. But with the nosebleed seats, just go sit somewhere lower. Like, you don't have to sit in the you can actually sit in the 100 section. Nobody's going to kick you out unless you're in this seat. Because that is not going to be packed. It's not going to sell out. So
that's a sad. You don't even think it'll be packed for Cowboy fans, huh?
Nope. The Cowboys.
Monday Night Football?
It's bad, dude. It's just as bad.
Wow. This is sad, man.
Brutal.
This is brutal. Well, we didn't want to leave you guys with that, but I had to ask Professor T. So check him out tomorrow night. Dead in the Water on the Ultimate Raider Fan 32. He also shows it on the Knockout Canvas for some reason.
We talk about
that's true. That's true. Yeah. So, but hopefully you guys found the information well. Hopefully you guys get to watch, and then me and Professor T will be back to talk about it all next week, the results and the whole bit. Check out the Knockout Canvas this Saturday with Professor T. Calling the Chris Eubanks versus Conor Benn rematch.
It's gonna be a good one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace.